Imagine, on a vast midnight, there is a lonely lighthouse rising along a rocky shore. Amidst the crashing melody of the waves, the light of that beacon burns without seeking anyone's approval. It is the only beacon that can guide the dark waters to harm, even if the outgoing ships often do not realize it. The fuel that feeds it is the prayers whispered in the silence of the night, the deepest desires of hearts that have not lost hope. Neither applause nor praise, only a flickering beacon in the midst of the darkness, a silent witness to your endurance and hidden sacrifices. Don't just be a spectator, be a part of the story. With your support, we will become a giant family of 5,000 people. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, and join us. Because just like that beacon, your journey is a light that feeds the unseen, steady but never extinguished. Imagine life as a lantern burning in the window of a house at the edge of a vast night. Most travelers pass by, not noticing the soft light flickering against the darkness, but somewhere beyond the fields, that little flame is seen. Even when nobody is watching, the oil is tended. Someone pours in hope, even if only a few drops at a time, and the glow continues. It's a quiet, faithful light, not competing with the stars or the moon, but stubbornly shining through every storm, every lonely stretch of evening. That lantern is your journey, the sacred work done in quiet, the goodness lived out when applause is nowhere to be found. Now, as the world rushes by, distracted by the noise and the glare, there is an eye above that misses nothing. Every moment you showed up, even when you were weary, every time you held on when letting go seemed easier, every patient choice to act with integrity and kindness, those things don't just fade into the background. They rise like warmth from that little lantern, drifting higher than you can imagine. No, you don't always hear cheering. There isn't a marching band on the sidewalk. But in the invisible places, where angels walk, where prayers travel, where eternity leans in, your smallest faithful acts shine brighter than stadium lights. There's a reason your story matters even when it's not making headlines. Seeds planted in the unseen soil often grow the strongest roots. The big moments get all the talk, but it's the daily watering, the silent tending, the yes, whispered in an empty room, that builds something heaven itself celebrates. The world keeps spinning, people come and go, but the one who quietly chooses faithfulness writes their name in a different book, one that can't be erased by the passing of trends or the ups and downs of other people's opinions. Sometimes, what feels like the smallest step is actually a turning point in the spirit. The act of showing up, again and again, is more powerful than anyone realizes. Even when the spotlight never lands your way, even if nobody ever tweets your name or hands you a trophy, there is a record being kept, not for your ego, but for the testimony of your life. The universe, so much bigger and wiser than any of us, isn't measuring you by your public applause. No, it's measuring the secret sacrifices, the perseverance in dry seasons, the thank you said with trembling lips when circumstances offered you no comfort. What others forget, God remembers. The silent prayers you thought vanished into the air? They landed in good soil. The times you bit your tongue instead of fighting back, the forgiveness you extended when you were running on empty, the gentle words you spoke when anger would have been easier, none of it was wasted. Every drop became part of a hidden river, carving new paths where you could not see. There is a bigger picture, a grander script, where every overlooked act is treasured, every lonely mile noted, every simple kindness celebrated far beyond this earth. And here's the truth the world can't always see. Sometimes, it's not the biggest battles or the loudest declarations that bring a person into their destiny. It's the invisible victories. The quiet faithfulness, the behind-the-scenes resilience, the willingness to keep the lantern burning long after others have gone to sleep. While people celebrate quick wins, heaven delights in the long obedience. The steady, unshakable persistence of a heart that chooses love, honesty, and service, even when it goes unnoticed, that's the stuff of legacy. That's the light the world can't extinguish. In the hush of these overlooked moments, destiny is forged. No one may hand you a plaque or play your anthem, but the author of life smiles at the silent, stubborn hope in your chest. The world may call it small, but heaven calls it essential. Every moment you refused to give up, every time you poured another drop of oil into your lantern, You are writing a story that echoes beyond time. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked by the one who matters most. And maybe, as you tend to the light in your own window, others will find courage too. Maybe someone stumbling through their own darkness will see your quiet glow and remember that goodness is never wasted, that perseverance is always seen, that faithfulness, especially in secret, is the light that leads the way home. So keep tending that lantern. Keep showing up even if the night seems long. For in the ledger of the unseen, every act counts, every sacrifice is remembered, and your story, drawn in silence, will shine for generations to come. Because when heaven takes account, it is not the noise of your victories but the music of your steady heart that fills the halls above. The patience to do good when no one is watching, the humility to celebrate others, the strength to hope again after every disappointment, these are the gold threads running through the tapestry of your life. Even if your hands tremble and your steps feel small, know that you are cherished by a love that outlasts empires and a wisdom that outshines the sun. In God's eyes, your light was never meant to compete. It was meant to endure, to comfort, and to guide. And if tonight you find yourself wondering whether any of it matters, picture that lantern in the window, humble, faithful, a beacon in the ordinary night. The story is not over. There is so much more waiting, so much that your silent faithfulness has already prepared the way for. The heavens have seen it all, and they are pleased. Think about a gardener kneeling alone in the garden before dawn, hands buried in the cool soil, planting a seed that no one else even knows is there. Nobody's watching. There's no parade, no headlines, no fanfare, just quiet faith in what the morning might bring. That tiny seed, pressed into the earth, may not look like much. The world walks by, unaware of the silent moment that will one day grow into something far-reaching, something that will stretch roots deep and branches wide. But heaven sees that gardener's hands. Heaven knows that in the hush before the sunrise, destinies are set in motion. That's how the most life-altering decisions often begin, not with fireworks or grand speeches, but with a gentle agreement whispered deep inside. There's no applause when that choice is made. The world doesn't pause to take notice. Sometimes, the moment passes so softly it barely stirs the air, like the faint breeze that slips through the window before the day begins. Yet, inside the heart, a line is drawn. It's a choice to trust, to open a door even when you can't see what's waiting on the other side. It's the courage to believe that a new chapter can be written even if you're the only one turning the page. Long before answers show up, long before the rewards, there's this moment of surrender. Maybe it happens while you're lying awake at night, listening to the slow tick of the clock and wrestling with doubts. Maybe it arrives on a drive home, after a long day that's left you feeling spent. Maybe it finds you at the kitchen table, staring into your coffee, when you realize that what's familiar can no longer hold you. You might not have all the pieces. You might not even feel brave. Still, there's a soft yes inside. A decision to trust what can't be seen, to believe that growth is possible, and that this path, though unlit, is leading somewhere sacred. Others might look for guarantees, waiting for the world to hand them proof before they move. Some wait for crowds, or for someone to give them permission to step forward. But the chosen ones, the ones marked for something greater, don't always get certainty wrapped in a bow. They get a call, a nudge, a whisper, a holy restlessness that won't let them stay where they are. There's nothing showy about it. It's not a moment built for applause. It's a private leap, a sacred risk, a willingness to step away from the safety of the shoreline and wade into deep waters, knowing that the real miracle happens long before anyone else sees the waves part. This is the quiet kind of bravery, the kind that packs up comfort, peels away layers of old habits, and leaves behind the easy applause of familiar places. It's saying goodbye to the life that once fit, even though it's all you've ever known. Sometimes, that means letting go of a routine, a role, a reputation that's outlived its purpose. Sometimes, it's walking away from relationships that no longer help you grow, or beliefs that once kept you safe but now keep you small. It's a holy discomfort, a sacred unrest, a readiness to become someone you've never been. And that kind of transformation always comes with a price. There are days when the sacrifice feels invisible, the progress uncertain, the reward a distant promise. But that's the journey of every true seed, buried, unseen, but destined for more. Don't underestimate the power of a decision made in secret. The world is full of people waiting for their big break, waiting for their name to be called. But heaven is drawn to those who are willing to say yes when no one is clapping, to those who choose faith when evidence is scarce. There is a spiritual arithmetic that multiplies every quiet step, every private surrender, every humble, "I'll go even if I'm afraid." That's the secret. The greatest breakthroughs are born in the dark, before the world even knows to look for them. And make no mistake, every time a chosen one agrees to let go of comfort and embrace change, it shifts something in the unseen world. Old patterns are shaken loose. Generational cycles begin to break. Chains that held your ancestors captive snap, sometimes so quietly you don't hear them, but the ripple will reach generations you'll never meet. The enemy notices, too. Don't be surprised if resistance ramps up, if strange obstacles start popping up just as you decide to move. That's the opposition's way of acknowledging that something powerful is happening beneath the surface. It means your yes matters more than you know. Yet, that opposition is only proof that the ground is shifting. The garden is being turned. The soil is being made ready for a new kind of harvest. The decision that cost you your comfort is making room for a blessing you never could have received any other way. Every step into the unknown, every release of the old, every time you risk looking foolish for a promise no one else can see, you are planting seeds in a field that heaven itself will water. Others might never understand. They might call you reckless or say you're chasing dreams. Some will stand at a distance, waiting to see if your risk pays off. But those who choose the path of faith, who say yes in the silence, discover that God meets them on the other side with more than they left behind. The old has to make way for the new. The small beginnings, the secret choices, the hidden sacrifices, these are the building blocks of legacy. So let that quiet decision be your anthem. Let your private faith be the compass that guides you through nights when the world feels indifferent. Because what begins in the silence, what grows in the shadows, is what lasts. The world may miss it, but heaven never does. And there will come a morning when the seed you planted in faith breaks through the soil, and everyone will wonder where it came from. You'll know the truth. It started with a whisper, a yes, and a decision that changed everything, even if nobody saw it but God. And that, beloved, is how new inheritances are claimed, how the balance of the Spirit shifts, and how destinies are set into motion. The decision that changed your story wasn't loud or grand, but heaven heard it, and that's what matters most. Picture a shepherd leading a flock through the hills just as the seasons start to change. The grass that once looked green has faded, and the old trails that once felt safe have turned rocky and bare. Staying put seems easier, but the shepherd knows the flock can't thrive on yesterday's pasture. Even though the way forward looks uncertain, there comes a moment when you have to turn from what's familiar and begin walking toward a new meadow, even if your heart aches for what's left behind. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come when you're willing to leave what you've outgrown, even if it once felt like home. That's how spiritual growth works. There are times in life when comfort becomes a cage. Patterns and people that once filled you up slowly start draining your strength, and you can feel it in your bones. It's easy to stick with the routine, visit the same old places, hold the same old conversations, keep wearing a mask that doesn't fit anymore, just because it's what you know. But deep down, something stirs. A quiet voice reminds you that you weren't made to stay stuck, repeating yesterday's script. The shepherd's call is gentle but persistent, urging you toward a new horizon. Leaving the old pasture isn't easy. Sometimes it feels like you're wandering in circles, stumbling through confusion and loneliness. You may wonder if you made a mistake. Maybe your heart aches for the laughter you shared with people who aren't walking this new road with you. Maybe the routine of old habits tries to pull you back, whispering that it's safer to settle. But the truth is, nothing real can grow in soil that's been depleted. There comes a time when your spirit knows it's time to move on. Letting go of yesterday's comfort often means saying goodbye to relationships or places that only loved the version of you that was willing to shrink. It might mean stepping away from a group that celebrated your weakness but never encouraged your growth. Maybe it's a job that paid the bills but starved your soul. Maybe it's an old way of thinking that once kept you safe but now keeps you small. It could even be a version of yourself that you've simply outgrown. These goodbyes are heavy. Sometimes, it feels like part of you is being left out in the cold. But every departure makes room for something greater. The ache in your chest is proof that your heart is still alive, still seeking, still able to feel. God sees those lonely nights when you question if the journey is worth it. He notices the tears you hide when you're not sure who you are without the old identity. Heaven isn't looking for a flawless record or a perfect performance. It's looking for a heart that's willing to be led, even through uncertainty. The shepherd honors every step you take away from the dry, empty places. He's already out ahead, preparing new ground, planting seeds of possibility you haven't even imagined yet. Sometimes, progress feels like loss. Friends drift away. Doors close. The world grows quiet, and it's just you and God, walking one slow step at a time. But hidden in that silence is a blessing. The kind you don't see coming, the kind that changes your life from the inside out. What felt like an ending is often the opening of a new chapter. Each lonely mile, each bittersweet farewell, becomes sacred ground on which a new story can take root. There's a special courage in letting go when your hands are trembling. It takes guts to trust that what's waiting ahead is better than what you left behind. The world may not applaud the way you walked away from what no longer served you. People may not understand why you chose to release what others would have clung to. But heaven applauds the brave soul who says, "I'm ready for more. I'm willing to leave the shadows, even if I have to do it alone." Every sacrifice you make in faith becomes a doorway. Every empty space in your heart becomes a vessel for fresh wisdom and new connections. When you leave the old pasture, you give God room to surprise you, to send provision from unexpected places, to bring new relationships that nurture your soul, and to open doors that have your name written on them. It might take longer than you hoped. There will be days when you're tempted to look back, to long for the comfort of what was. But don't lose heart. Just because you can't see the meadow doesn't mean it isn't there. The shepherd is leading you somewhere good. As you journey forward, remember this: you are not alone. Heaven's eyes are on you, guiding your every step. The tears you've sown are watering the new field where joy will one day bloom. The ache of release is the sound of chains falling, the proof that you are moving into freedom. This process, though hard, though hidden, is holy. It's preparing you for the harvest you could never reap by standing still. So if today finds you at the edge of goodbye, facing the unknown, know that it's not a sign of failure but a mark of faith. You are walking the path of the chosen. Each decision to step forward, each painful but necessary release, each moment of trust in the dark, is carving out a future far beyond your old boundaries. This is not the end. It's the beginning of a new inheritance, a new identity, a new season where God's promises become your reality. There's glory in the growing pains, blessing in the letting go. The meadow ahead may still be unseen, but it's real, and it's waiting for the soul brave enough to reach for it. That soul is you. The shepherd is calling, the journey is unfolding, and the next chapter is already being written. One step, one sacrifice, one act of courage at a time. Think of an old craftsman working late in his humble workshop, hands steady and patient as he carves something beautiful from a block of wood. Outside, crowds rush by chasing shiny things, lost in the noise of the marketplace, eager for quick applause and the next big thrill. But inside, in that quiet place, the craftsman measures each cut, shapes each curve, content to let the masterpiece take the time it needs. He knows lasting value isn't made in the spotlight, it's built in the stillness, far from the glare of quick opinions. That's what it's like to walk a path of true substance in a world addicted to visibility. So many voices shout for attention, willing to trade their truth for a quick round of applause or a few fleeting likes. But the chosen know there's a different rhythm to real growth. Instead of running toward every camera or bending their words to fit the crowd, they're willing to stay in the background, trusting that what matters most is built out of sight, behind closed doors, in the secret place where character is formed. It's easy to be swept up by the urge to perform, to dress up for the crowd, to polish your story for the spotlight. But substance isn't born on the stage, it's born in the shadows, in the moments when you choose patience over platform, honesty over hype, and the slow, faithful work over shortcuts. True destiny is shaped by what no one sees. The prayers whispered in the night, the boundaries kept when compromise is popular, the quiet hours spent improving when nobody is watching. There is a richness that grows deep inside the soul, like roots stretching beneath the surface of the earth. You can't see the roots, but you'll see the strength when the storms come. Just as a tree's real power is hidden underground, a person's integrity is what keeps them standing tall when the winds of life blow strong. It's not flashy. It's not newsworthy. But it's the only thing that lasts. Some folks will bend with every breeze, changing their story just to get attention or win approval. But those who are truly chosen, those who live by a different light, learn to let the shallow things go. They realize that applause is just an echo that fades, while authenticity leaves a mark that time can't erase. They keep sowing seeds of faithfulness, even when nobody claps, knowing that harvest comes to those who wait on heaven's timing. When reward finally arrives, it's not because of clever self-promotion or loud declarations. It's because of years spent investing in things nobody could see but God. The fruit that comes from patience, discipline, and silent determination is the sweetest kind. The world may not notice the sacrifices made in private, but heaven does. The legacy built in secret will outlast every trend, every headline, every passing fancy. The truest kind of recognition doesn't show up overnight. It grows quietly, deep inside the heart, until one day it bursts forth, undeniable and real. And when it does, it can't be faked, bought, or borrowed. That kind of authenticity is the reward for a life lived in alignment with a higher calling. It's the craftsman's masterpiece, unveiled after years in the making, cherished not because it's flashy, but because it's real. In a world racing to be seen, be the one who's willing to grow in the shadows. In an age obsessed with surface, let your roots run deep. Don't worry if the crowd overlooks you. Don't change your voice just to get their approval. Keep your hands steady. Keep building, keep trusting, and know that what's done in faith and honesty will shine when the time is right. The light that truly matters is the one that's been burning in your soul all along, steady, faithful, and seen by heaven even if the world looks away. And so, let others chase the spotlight. You stay faithful to the process. For in the end, it's not the noise that defines your worth, but the substance you built in the quiet, the truth you held to when nobody else was looking, and the legacy that only grows stronger with time. That's what heaven calls success, a masterpiece crafted in the hands of the patient and the faithful. Picture an old potter at the wheel, shaping a vessel in the hush of his quiet workshop. The clay is spun and pressed, hidden from all eyes but his own. There's no crowd watching, no rush to fire the piece before it's ready, no hurried display on a window shelf. He knows from years of wisdom that a good vessel takes time. Its strength comes from patience, its beauty from the careful attention given in secret. If he exposes it to the fire too soon, it cracks. If he reveals it before it's fully formed, it won't hold what's meant to be poured in later. So he guards it gently, letting it rest and cure, even when the world outside hurries on. That's how the treasures of the Spirit are handled. Not every revelation is meant to be shouted from the rooftops. Some words from heaven are meant to be tucked away, cherished in the folds of a quiet heart until their season arrives. In a world that's always urging people to share, to reveal, to rush the process and chase validation, the chosen soul learns a different lesson. True stewardship is about recognizing value even before it's visible to the world. It's about protecting what's still tender, still finding its shape, still drawing in strength. Discernment becomes your guide. It means knowing which dreams to water in prayer and which to keep between you and God. It means sheltering new visions from the storms of criticism or misunderstanding, letting them grow deep roots in the soil of trust before ever letting them see the sunlight of public opinion. There is a rare wisdom in waiting. Not every fruit is picked the moment it appears. Not every song is sung before it's finished. Sometimes the holiest things grow in silence, protected by the hands that know what's at stake. You don't have to parade every blessing or prove every promise. In fact, some of the most powerful things God gives you are meant to be guarded, like seeds planted in secret places. A vision kept in the heart matures in stillness. The world may not know what you're carrying, but heaven does. Every act of restraint, every choice to cover and not expose, is seen by the one who weighs hearts. There's a trust built in that hidden season, a sacred agreement that you are willing to hold what's precious, even if nobody claps, even if you have to walk alone for a while. When you keep what's holy out of the rush, you give it time to grow strong. The roots go deep, the vessel is shaped to last, and the gift can bear weight it never could have managed if it had been pushed out before its time. This is how purpose is anchored. The world may push you to show your hand, to spill every secret, to chase every trend. But the chosen know, what is truly valuable never needs to hurry. When the right moment comes, what you've kept in faith will be ready to stand the test and carry the blessing meant for you. This kind of patience is not weakness, it's spiritual strength. It's the discipline of those who know they're being trusted with more. When you've proven faithful with what's hidden, with what's small, the door opens for bigger responsibilities. Heaven does not overlook the quiet guardian, the one who waits, who prays, who lets promises mature in the shadows. There is honor in restraint. There is greatness in guarding. There is blessing in holding tight to the treasures God places in your care, waiting for the moment when revealing them will bring not just applause, but real transformation. So if you find yourself carrying something precious that nobody else sees, take heart. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You're in the potter's hands, being shaped for a purpose greater than you can imagine. And when the time is right, what you have guarded in the secret place will shine with a strength and beauty the world cannot deny. Think of a lamp shining in a house during a storm. The winds rage outside, rain lashes the windows, and thunder shakes the walls. But inside, that lamp keeps burning, warm and steady, a comfort to all who draw near. Its glow is not diminished by the darkness pressing in. In fact, the greater the storm, the brighter the lamp seems to shine. That's what real compassion looks like. It isn't just kindness in easy times, it's the warmth you offer when the world feels cold, the gentle words spoken when your own heart aches, the patience that stretches further than anyone expects. So many folks think strength is proven by shouting back or by holding on to hurts until they harden. The world expects people to return insult for insult, to match anger with anger, to close their hands tight around every slight. But the chosen have learned a different way. True endurance isn't found in the clenched fist, but in the open hand. The ability to remain soft when life gets hard, to answer pain with understanding, to bless instead of curse. These are marks of a spirit that's been refined by the fire of experience, yet remains tender. It's one thing to share love when everything is going well, when your table is full and laughter is easy. But the real test of character is how you respond when disappointment knocks at your door, when the people you've helped walk away, or when your kindness seems to be met with indifference. Anybody can be friendly on a sunny day, but it takes a special kind of faith to extend mercy when your heart is tired, or to show grace when you have every reason to withhold it. What the world may never see is how these moments, so small and quiet, shape the future. Every time you refuse to hold a grudge, every moment you choose forgiveness over bitterness, you're planting seeds in a field that heaven alone tends. These are the seeds that will one day grow into a harvest of peace, not just for you, but for those who come after you. The blueprint for tomorrow's blessing is drawn in today's acts of silent mercy. There's a strength in gentleness that most folks miss. It takes more courage to offer a kind word than a sharp one, especially when you're hurting. But the chosen know that the real power isn't in getting even, it's in rising above. Each decision to let love guide you, each time you turn away from anger and choose understanding, you're quietly shifting the atmosphere around you. It's like a soft rain falling on parched ground, slowly but surely bringing new life. You may not get applause for the compassion you give. The world might overlook your acts of kindness, might even call you weak for not fighting back. But heaven sees it all. The greatest legacies are built in these hidden moments. When you decided to answer cruelty with prayer, when you found the courage to say, "I forgive you," without needing an apology, when you kept believing in the goodness of people even after they let you down. So keep shining your light, even when the storm rages on. Keep choosing compassion when the easy road would be to shut down. Every gentle answer, every act of understanding, is laying the foundation for blessings you haven't even dreamed of yet. What you give away in grace will always come back to you in ways only God can arrange. The quiet glow of your mercy will become a beacon for others lost in the dark, proof that love is the greatest power there is. In the end, it's not the grand gestures or the public victories that matter most. It's the steady light of compassion in the storm, the daily decision to keep your heart open, your hands willing, and your spirit free from bitterness. That's where the future is written, and that's the legacy heaven is preparing just for you. In those long seasons when easy exits are tempting, steadfastness carves a legacy. Not every step will be noticed, not every struggle praised, but the decision to endure through monotony, disappointment, or misunderstanding plants seeds that cannot be uprooted by passing trends. Remaining committed through uncertainty, holding fast when comfort calls for retreat, transforms what looks like delay into a powerful foundation. The stillness, often mistaken for stagnation, is actually the nurturing of spiritual muscle. The roots deepen unseen, readying for a season of growth that only endurance can bring. When change finally arrives, it does not disrupt what has been built. It honors every moment of perseverance. Inner clarity is kept not through avoidance of conflict but by cultivating an inner sanctuary that can withstand storms. Temptations, fears, and disappointment swirl, but the core remains untainted, a reservoir of purpose that isn't easily polluted by bitterness or distraction. This kind of vigilance demands continual renewal and honest reflection, maintaining a standard of truth and simplicity in a world eager for shortcuts. The quiet resolve to remain genuine, especially when it is costly, guards the sacred from erosion. Such purity, though subtle, wields a strength that shifts unseen battles and ensures that what has been gained cannot be easily undone. It is not an ornament to be displayed but a shield, securing the future and preserving the integrity of what truly matters. The journey, then, is not about the flawless performance of visible acts but the devotion that lives in the shadows. Sacrifices made without audience, decisions rooted in sincerity, and courage that quietly persists, these are the foundations upon which greater destinies are built. Recognition may arrive later than hoped, but the harvest is certain. The internal victories are remembered, each act recorded by a wisdom greater than this world. Reward is not simply provision but the opening of new territories, deeper influence, and alignment with a larger purpose. The treasures gained along the way are not easily lost, for they are anchored in the kind of resilience, humility, and quiet strength that outlasts any passing storm.